children are the most beautiful, most sweet, most treasured of our creations. And yet, every minute, at least 28 children die. Today, our children are at risk of being killed by diseases and by the violence of war, guns, abuse, and neglect. Children have few rights and no one to speak for them. They have no voice in our world. God and nature have blessed me with a voice. Now I want to use it to help children speak for themselves. I have founded the Heal the World Foundation to be the voice of the voiceless, the children.
Welcome everybody. You know, oftentimes when we talk about Michael Jackson, we're oftentimes talking about how he's a controversial person, or we're talking about his successes, or we're talking about where he's buried, or we are at his gravesite. But the one thing that's always in the shadows that we don't talk about enough is the moments that Michael Jackson actually gave back to the world. But that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to be talking about various moments that Michael Jackson actually gave to charity. And listen, I'm only scraping the tip of the iceberg. There are multiple times that Michael Jackson actually gave to charity, gave to kids, hungry kids, helped them out in so many ways. And I want to dedicate this video here to that. Without further ado, let's get started. Sometime in the 80s, the Jackson 5 would make a deal with the Pepsi Corporation. And that deal was that they would make a series of commercials. And through the series of commercials, they would promote Pepsi in different environments and get paid for it. Hey, that's a pretty good deal, right? And through those series of commercials that were filmed, one of them was filmed right here, which is the Shrine Auditorium here in LA. And the Shrine Auditorium is right across the street from CSU LA. Now, this is a venue that usually holds concerts. So in this commercial, they were supposed to be somewhat mimicking a concert. And they had pyrotechnics and all these fireworks going off on stage. Michael Jackson would start at the top of the stage, and as he goes down, the fireworks would go off, and then he starts performing and dancing just like this. I'm just kidding. He starts performing and dancing on stage, and that happened several times because most people know during takes of things, you take several takes. You'll take up to 10 takes, 20 takes sometimes, whatever it takes to get those takes. I don't know, did that make sense? So during one of the takes, Michael Jackson would perform the same thing. He would come out on top of the stage, kind of do a little dance and then walk down the stage. And as that was going on, the pyrotechnics were supposed to go off. Unfortunately, Michael Jackson or the people that were running the pyrotechnics did something wrong. And they went off either too early or Michael Jackson didn't go down the stairs. I'm not pointing fingers here, people, but whoever the fault was, the end result is Michael Jackson ended up getting severe 2-degree, 3-degree burns on his scalp. The fire caught on his scalp. From there, all the staff that was working on the video ran up to Michael Jackson to put out that fire, and obviously they immediately called 911. From there, emergency vehicles showed up, including an ambulance, and off to the hospital Michael Jackson went. Right now I'm in Culver City, California, a much colder climate than where we were just at. And right behind me here off in the distance is where Michael Jackson was taken directly after that incident during the Pepsi commercial. And as he was staying here, and which was a long time. I mean, you don't just recover overnight from a big scalp burn like he had. He had to get some surgery, he had to get some plastic surgery. And so he was here for quite a while. And while he was staying here, he met a lot of people, a lot of other burn victims, and got to know them. became friends with them. By the time Michael Jackson left the hospital, he had a lot of friends, a lot of new friends that he was attached to. He really enjoyed their company and getting to know them while he was in the hospital. You know, you can't just go through an experience that long in a facility like this and not make friends and not, you know, become attached to some people. And that's why Michael Jackson, after he left, donated a large sum of money to the burn victim facility. Not only that, but he bought and donated machines to help out burn victims. These machines are to help out graft the very serious burns and help people heal. Besides all of that, Michael Jackson also would return several times to visit children that were burn victims. And he would oftentimes visit them and cheer them up. The end result was Michael Jackson donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to this hospital to help burn victims. And on top of that, he made friends. Who doesn't want friends? And Culver City is a cute town within the LA County, and that's where the hospital is where Michael Jackson was taken. But this is the last time we're gonna look at this hospital. We're gonna go look at a few other things, but Michael Jackson actually did something else at this hospital to help it out big time. And we're gonna get into that a little bit later, but first, let's go. And if you wanted to come out and look at the hospital, it's over here off of Washington Boulevard, and it's on Del Mas. Del Mas. I had to say Del Mas slowly, because if you say it fast, Del Mas. Del Mas? What does that sound like? Anyway, let's go. Right across the street from me right here is the Jim Henson Studios. And the Jim Henson Studios was used and made by Charlie Chaplin. And at some point, sandwiched between Charlie Chaplin owning this and Jim Henson owning this, there was A&M Records. And this right here, my friends, is where the magic is made. Let's get into it. And as cool as all this exterior looks, we actually want to go to this part of the studio right here. And right at this big studio right here, and right behind this big studio door, this is where they recorded a video for a little song you may have heard of, We Are the World. I'm just kidding about it being a small song that you may never heard of, because it's one of the top charting singles ever made, even to this day. And in the video of We Are the World, they had many top charting singers of the time. Cyndi Lauper, Bruce Springsteen, Michael Jackson, of course, and many others right behind the store making that video. So what does this have to do with Michael Jackson and charity and giving back to the world? Well, let me explain that. You see, a man by the name of Harry Belafonte, I just like to say it like that, it's Harry Belafonte. And Harry Belafonte heard a song from the UK, was called Do They Know It's Christmas? And that song was a charity song. And that gave him the idea to kind of do an American version of that song. A charity song from America. So Harry Belafonte wanted to hire people that were top-notch at the time, top-performing artists in America. And who else would you get to write a song for charity other than Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson? After Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson wrote the song, in stepped Quincy Jones to produce. And from there, they bring in all the top charting performers of the time. After they did all their turns on recording their parts and doing the chorus and getting the song all done, that's when they had to make the video for MTV and the rest of the world to see. And that happened, yes, you guessed it, or maybe you just remembered what I said earlier, right behind these doors. And the exact release date for We Are the World was March 7th, 1985. From across the street, these don't look that big, but stand by it, man. That's one big door. Now that video topped the charts for many months, many years. It was a #1 selling song for a very long time. Not only that, it ended up raising $60 million of 80s money for charity, for hunger, starvation, in devastated parts of the world. Mainly the money went to parts of Africa, and Ethiopia was one of the top places that a lot of that money went to. And all that money went to preventing starvation in those devastated areas. Not only starvation, but to get the medication that was needed in that area, vaccinations to help stop spreading diseases, stuff like that. Very important things that this world needs to do. I do think it was a very smart idea to use Michael Jackson as a face of this, and Lionel Richie and a lot of these other top stars to help sell this album. But I guess we have the British to thank for that, since they did it first. Thank you, England. And here currently in 2024, We Are the World is still one of the top selling singles. It is the 8th best selling song in the world. And if you wanted to come out to the Jim Henson Studios, it's out here in LA, Los Angeles, and it's on La Brea Boulevard. You can Google the rest, it's really easy to find. All right, We Are the World Studio, now at the Jim Henson Studios. Bye. And do they know it's Christmas time at all? Nailed it. We're back to Delmont Terrace here in Culver City. And I told you we were going to be coming back because there's a second thing that Michael Jackson did for this hospital. He made so many friends and was so touched by all the pain that was happening that he actually came back in December 1984. What did he come to do? Well, let's talk about it. He got burned in January 1984. Fast forward to December 1984, same year, Michael Jackson comes back and donates $1.5 million. Where did that $1.5 million come from, you ask? Well, it came from the very commercial that brought him here. It was the Pepsi commercial. His cut was $1.5 million to do the commercial. Instead of keeping it for himself, he felt it was better used for children that are burn victims. And that $1.5 million would turn into Michael Jackson's Burn Center for Children. Tell me, that ain't one of the coolest things somebody has ever done. I mean, come on. Children, burn victims, heck yeah, give that money to them. Now, I can't tell you if that center lasted all the way into 2024. My guess is probably it's not. But I think the true story to take away from this is the fact that Michael Jackson was a very caring kind of guy. And I think it came from his heart. He didn't have to do that. He did it out of the kindness of his heart.
My earliest inspiration to be actively involved in all dimensions of the global multimedia explosion was derived from decades of concert tours throughout the world. During these travels, I heard the heartbeats of millions of fans who shared their hopes, their loves, and their fears, and most importantly, their desire for a better life. It was during this time that I began to appreciate that global family entertainment could bring peace, brotherhood, and love to the world.
All right, now I'm in Century City, and Century City is essentially, well, it is a part of LA, but it's like a city outside of the main city, but it's a much bougier part of the city. It's incredible here. But the problem is they're lacking in parking. I just went to a parking lot and I said, how much is it to park here for 1 hour? They're like, oh, it's a Saturday? All day $16. I'm like, okay, how much for an hour? $16. I was like, wait a minute, I only want to park for an hour. Are you sure you're giving me the right $16? All day, 16. You can park it here. I only want an hour, $16. Now, why am I here? Well, because there's a tower here called the Century Tower. The Century Tower is right here. I'm pointing over here. Now you're looking at B-roll. That's the Century Tower. I wasn't able to find parking in front of the tower, but I did manage to get some footage. So I will be showing that over what I'm about to talk about. Now, in 1992, Michael Jackson started an organization to help starving kids throughout the world. And that organization was called Heal the World Foundation. It was founded by Michael Jackson in 1992. But in 1993, at the Century Tower, the same year that Super Bowl 27 was happening, which was funded by Frito-Lay, they had a big fundraising moment at the Century Tower for the Michael Jackson Foundation, Heal the World Foundation. Other foundations showed up to also support this, such as Heal LA. So you had Heal LA, several different foundations, Super Bowl 27, which was funded by Frito-Lay company. And during this, they were to raise money. They were able to raise $1 million in one night for Michael Jackson's foundation. Once again, that $1 million went to help educating, feeding, and helping children with hospitalization or anything they needed. It also helped kick off the Michael Jackson Foundation, the Heal the World Foundation, which brought it more attention, more media attention, and brought it more money eventually as the foundation went on. Pretty cool, huh? And just on a side note, Century City is also where the Die Hard building is, the filming location for the movie Die Hard. It's filmed right here, and I'm showing you the B-roll of it right now. Pretty cool, huh? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
In 2000, Guinness World Records recognized Michael Jackson for supporting 39 charities, more than any other entertainer. Jackson was twice nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize for his humanitarian work, first in 1998 and again in 2003.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the video. Thank you for joining me. But if you want to see more Michael Jackson videos, please, I got plenty. Here's another one right here. You want to go check out that Michael Jackson video? It's a good one. Go check it out. If you like this one, you'll like that one. And if you want to see my latest video, which is not a Michael Jackson video, but go check it out anyway, right over here. I'll see you guys over in any one of those, and have a good day. Bye-bye, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.